Hello, everybody, and welcome to our second session of this second playtest of Apocalypse Keys. This is part of the Gauntlet Hangouts, where everybody is very supportive as I playtest all of my stuff. So you can find out more at Gauntlet RPG, right? No, gauntlet-rpg.com. Don't listen to me. The proper link is down below in the description. And so usually we get to hang out lots of times, several times a week, just to play games. But the Gauntlet is also a lot of other things. There are podcasts, there's a forum, you can check it all out at the link below. Okay, so before we get into it, I would like us to introduce ourselves and our characters as briefly as we like. And if there's anything we want to plug, please feel free to do so. So I'll go ahead and start. My name is Jamie, they, them pronouns, please. And I'm working on Apocalypse Keys, which is working out better than I thought it would. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't know, we might hit something bad, but so far it's been working out pretty well. I don't know. There's still a lot of room for improvement, but it's not burning horribly like the first time I did a PbtA game. So that's already a big win for me. Yeah, and so let's go in character keeper order. If I can pull up the share screen properly. Where did it go? Why is Spotify here? Where is everything? Where is it? Oh, I see what I did. I went to the Zoom thing by accident. All right, I can do this. So properly sharing now. All right, so let's start with Daryl to tell us about yourself and your character.
Hello. I'm Daryl. My pronouns are he, him. And the quick plug is that I am currently working on a solo journaling game that is inspired by Kiki's Delivery Service and Witch Hat Atelier and uses mechanics similar to that of The Quiet Year by our goddess Avery Alder. God, that's going to end up on the internet and I'm never going to live it down. Anyway, so you can find that on my Twitter, which is at Darrow Ross. That's DAROROSS. I'm getting super close to having my alpha build out, so that's going to be great. I am playing Panzer X, who is the summoned for this game, and Panzer X embodies the promise and inevitability of doom. My power is blunt, aggressive, and demanding. My heart yearns to love and be loved. So anyway, Panzer is, they are a completely overwhelming creation of another universe that is summoned from hell to be the final key of the apocalypse. Their look is that they are a lithe, young, androgynous figure that wears a trench coat that hides their heavily tattooed body, which is actually also made of glass and machine work that they can reconstitute whenever they want. They have a shattered horn from one of their two horns that emit from their head, and they are characterized by colossal strength and weapons from where I was summoned. Basically, Panzer has been looped into the division because they were originally summoned to bring about the apocalypse, and their helper drone / guardian was destroyed by one of our other characters, and now they're free to do whatever the heck they want, which is, frankly, try to understand the strange flesh things that walk this earth. They're not having that much luck just yet, but they're here to do a job, and do a job is what they can do.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, and so next, let's hear about our viewers. So Darren, go ahead and introduce yourself and talk about your character.
Yeah, my name is Darren. I use he, him pronouns. The things I have to plug, you can find all my projects on my itch page. I don't like that, my itch.io page, I'm just gonna say that. agonysonggames.itch.io. I'm sometime this year gonna release a mecha PbtA game. It's real good, look out for it. I'm also very soon going to put out a mecha rooted in trophy game. I can't be stopped. And I just decided to work on a vampire rooted in trophy game. So you know what? There's a bunch coming.
Ooh, what? A vampire what game? What?
Rooted in trophy. So it's based on Trophy Gold. I was going to sleep one night and I just was thinking about vampires like you do. And I figured out that you could invert the rune mechanic and make it humanity, and then I couldn't stop myself. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think it'll be pretty good. The way it messes with time and checks out the incursion bits. So you're just, the main role is called an intrigue role. So you're basically just conniving, maneuvering,
I
have to
like
figure out
this.
PvP rules.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
good.
No, I don't know why the best ideas come when you're about to sleep. Like you're like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. Oh no, brain, stop.
It was very rude. I literally was like, I'm just gonna sleep, and if it's still there in the morning, I'll deal with it. I laid down and I rolled over, picked up my phone, and took notes for like an hour. I was like, this is outrageous. So that's all I've been working on. But it's all good. And yeah, the other trophy one, the mecha one, is also very good. The PbtA one is all teams and emotions, and the trophy rooted in trophy one is just about like being cool in a mech. The shonen to the shoujo. Yeah, the shonen to the shoujo. Really, both sides. Anyway, so my character's name is Syne. Sin is the pure. I will also dramatically read my flavor text. I embody the hope and fear of doom. My power is explosive, uncontrollable, and alienating. My heart yearns to destroy and be destroyed. Yeah, that follows pretty much. Sin, I was sacrificed to demons and the demonic horde. So I think his heart was destroyed already. We'll see about the destroying part. Sin has like tattoos all over him that sort of like crawl over his skin and change because I think they're demons. Since Sin embodies this demonic horde. And also demons sort of like crawl out of all the shadows around him. It's just some pretty dark stuff. But interestingly, he has an ever-burning cigarette, so Sin is just constantly smoking, which is good. It's a look. Let's see what else. Oh, I'm in love with our Sasquatch, who isn't here yet. And I also have the hots for Panzer X, so the rock on a hard place. I think that's it. I don't know.
Or between glass and fur. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, glass and fur.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, and yeah, so our found is usually played by Center, who may or may not join us. But basically we have a Sasquatch who is probably made of dream stuff. I really like that concept. Basically, he was found when people really wanted to find Bigfoot. So, and he came into being. So that's pretty cool. All right, and then let's switch over to the Shade, played by Leandro. So, Leandro, go ahead.
Hi, yeah. My name's Andrew. I use he, him pronouns. I don't have anything impressive to plug at the moment. So I think I'll just plug is an appearance myself and has been doing on a show called Off the Table. They do like a bunch of Twitch streams of like story games and indie games. Lots of cool stuff. Every other Thursday, which means the Thursday after next, we're in the middle of a run of Good Society, which is the Jane Austen RPG, but we've been using the Sense, Sensibility, and Swordsmanship expansion, which means masked identities, you know, stuff like Zorro or the Scarlet Pimpernel, mostly Zorro, or so that's been a lot of fun so far. It's been a lot of drama. My character is the one character who doesn't have a secret identity, and kind of looks down on all the other masks and thinks, you're not going to fix the world by punching people, you know? You know what the right way to fix the world is? Marrying the right people. That's how you do it. Come on. You're just getting bruises, but you can be making connections. Come on, people. Yeah, she's an absolute Emma Woodhouse, Cher Horowitz type in a world with superheroes. It's ridiculous. Yeah, so check that out. It's at twitch.tv/off_the table. Thursday after next. Yeah, and my character, who is, as mentioned, is using this Shade playbook, which I think I'll read out the text. Well, her name is Delilah, she, her pronouns, and yeah, she embodies the coldness and end of doom. My power is enlightening, intellectual, and ephemeral. My heart yearns to guide and be guided, which is just about right. Yeah. Um, Delilah is someone who got caught in an obsession with trying to prove that death as a force existed. Um, pushed that obsession to kind of the limit and ended up in a place where she nearly managed to come into contact with death as this powerful force, and death said nah. Um, so she is now caught in this like weird limbo state. Not really dead or alive, but kind of like bitter and sad about it. But bitter and sad in a way a YA protagonist is. Um, so she seems childish compared to her other division agents. Yeah, she's a ghostly companion that never speaks, but just kind of like hangs around her, kind of like a JoJo stand. Um, she got too close to the truth and died, but death would not take her because that's a jerk. Um, and the darkness has latched on to me as a possible agent of theirs, and um yeah, it demands that I kill death, which basically just telling me, oh yeah, I was right, death is a thing, not just, you know, a concept, but an actual thing that can be affected. And the other thing in darkness demanded is to fall in love with the destroyer of worlds, which is annoying because that could be this you heard of this prick who's like made of glass and bravado. Like, come on. Ugh. And they're they're very distracting. Shut up. Yeah, that's kind of like Delilah's deal. It's a lot, but you know, she's getting through it. Although she did pick up smoking, so who knows how she's getting through it. Um, it's not going to affect her. She's not technically alive. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so on that note, I think what we'll do is we'll roll into reviewing the case so far, where we stand. So basically, so I'll go over active case notes first. But so the division has sent you to the Philippines, Manila specifically, Burgos, the red light district of Makati, even more specifically. And because the Exorcists of Manila have asked for a favor, there's a close relationship going on between the division and the Exorcists. So both Black Nazarene images, so basically the wooden statues, are missing. So could this be related to the original images that were reportedly destroyed in the bombing of 1945, right? You also know, having asked around and checked out what's happening, that folks are going missing in the area, but carved versions of them have been found for at least some of them. So there is that. And the clues, so once again, this is a case complexity 6, meaning when you roll to solve the mystery, you roll it. Well, right now we have 3 clues. So instead of a -6, you're rolling at a -3. So the clues you have so far are a psychic vision of 2 Black Nazarene leaving a burning church from long ago. So you also know that a spell was cast during the bombing to bring the Nazarene to life, and they can also take on a more human appearance if they want to. They don't have to look like, but well, at least this was during the time of 1945. You don't know what's up now. Also, the Syne sisters are involved somehow, and they meet at the cracked mirror, right? So just as a really brief review of what's going on with the cracked mirror and stuff. So Syne ran into Crow Raven last time, a mage who owns the territory of Burgos and Makati. She doesn't like Division very much, but is willing to work with them if it means they leave sooner. And if Syne can retrieve her apprentice Corvus. So we know Corvus is hanging out with the sisters. But yeah, and we also got to meet Alon, our water to water last time. So that's where we are currently. So there's a lot to uncover still. And yes, we are doing XP first. I see it in the chat, but I also, the post-it is still here. It has survived miraculously. So before we get into it, because last time I forgot to go over end of session moves. So let me just share that real quick on the screen. Right, so everyone can answer. I know we didn't get to do too much last time. I think we only had an hour or so to get into it. So, but basically the questions are, did you express your monstrous nature? Did you express your humanity? Did you learn something significant about yourself or your impending doom? And did you learn something significant about a fellow monster? So let's go in character keeper order again. So Panzer, do you feel like you answered yes for any of these questions?
I do, indeed. While I did not have a chance to express my monstrous nature just yet, I did express my humanity because I attempted a very human thing to comfort another creature that has some sort of life in it.
Absolutely.
So
I
that is
agree.
one thing that I attempted. I did not learn anything significant about myself or my impending doom because, of course, I am perfect and know myself. But I did learn something significant about a fellow monster in the fact that my cohort Yuledok is very swayed by food things and flesh things, specifically when they come together.
It's true. It's true. So that's 2 XP for sure. All right. And how about Syne? Do you feel like you answered yes for any of these questions?
I don't think I expressed my monstrous nature, but I did express my humanity. I had a very good chat with Delilah. And coming off of that, don't think I learned something significant about myself.
Oh, though we did, I will say it's up to you, but Crow did bring up how there's a tendency for things to happen to the strays that you pick up, as they put it. And we did end on that creepy moment where one of your shadow demons looked like Delilah for a moment before it faded. So there is that.
Yeah, that is true. I'll take it. I got a hint about my impending doom. And then I learned something significant about a fellow monster. I'm trying to think of. I feel like I did. I felt like my conversation with Delilah was so very involved. So I think maybe even just like the smoking thing and how like seeing Delilah sort of be like, well, it doesn't matter. Sort of a nihilist approach.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't care what you think, Dad. I'll do what I want.
Yeah, we have goth older brother vibes. But yeah, so how many XP is that in total? I think that's 3. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I counted.
Nice. All right. And then, so how about Delilah? Do you feel like you answered yes to any of these questions?
I think the expressing a monstrous nature only in the very small sense, just mentioning, oh, I smoke, but yeah, it's not going to affect me. But it's too small, I think, to count for XP. That's just more of a joke. Express your humanity, yeah, a very involved chat with Syne there. Did I learn something significant about yourself? Not myself, I don't think so. Did I learn something significant about a fellow monster? Yeah, apparently Syne has have a the example I'm thinking of is Wolverine in X-Men comics. If you pay attention, he picks up a lot of female sidekicks, where he becomes like a gruff mentor figure too. It's kind of weird how that keeps happening.
And awful things keep happening to them. So.
Yeah, well, they make it out at the end. Like, Kitty Pryde turned out great in the end, I suppose. Then again, comics never end, so who knows? But yeah, I think that's 2 XP.
Okay, very cool. All right, so I will remember to do it today, before the end of the session for sure. Okay, so yeah, with that in mind, so we do know you have a strong lead about the cracked mirror, but so this is one of those one of those bars in the area. But it's only something that you supernatural folk know about. Normal humans can't access this place. It'll open later in the evening, but if anyone wants to do anything before that time, we could investigate, try to grasp some keys if you want to check in on any contacts. Like I said, it's assumed that you've been doing this at least for a little while. So if you feel like saying, oh, I've worked with someone before here in the area, I want to call up or check in, you could also do that. So, but yeah, does anyone have any ideas of what they'd like to do?
I was thinking a scene with Panzer.
My only goal was to meet up with the others and hassle them, so.
So
I think that'd be a
perfect.
good
So
start.
perfect.
Yeah. I'm into all of us meeting up if you want to
Yeah.
jump in, Delilah.
Yeah. There is this, let's say it happens at this restaurant. It's called the Filling Station. It kind of looks like, you know, Riverdale Pops, like the overly lit area. It looks like that, except over the top. Like it's really over the top. And there are all these archy, like, things on the wall and stuff. It's a landmark in this place. But anyway, so there's all this beautiful neon light. It's this very strange Filipino idea of what American diner looks like. So it's almost simulacra levels. Like it's so intense, right? It's overly accurate. So there's a booth that the three of you are at. I'm going to use some GM things and say our Sasquatch is in another booth, just like eating. Maybe we'll see. We'll double check with Center if they want to script change any of that. But yeah, okay. So what happens?
I think I'm watching Yodok eat, and I kind of turn to the other two and just kind of ask. You know, I've never had reason to ask this, but to the three of us, do we need to eat?
I think that food is an unnecessary sustenance that is required by you living flesh things. As I have said before, the sun is all that I need to power myself.
Well, I'm glad I'm not living then, so I don't have to deal with whatever the hell you just said.
Okay, well, I'll eat. Maybe I get fries.
I think one of
very cool.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't say any, like, I'm just holding the menu and I stare at it for a while and the waitress is about to walk away and I'm like, I will have a French fry and a milk shake.
Sir, just ma'am, one fry, just the one? Like you don't want the whole set?
Whatever is customary.
Customary. And she has this
We'll
like
take fries
wide-eyed
with the
look.
whole table.
Oh, okay, like that she understands. So she like nods. And then she skitters off. You can tell she's new. She's a little nervous. When she gets to the other side, the head waitress is like, "You did a good job," and she's like, "Ah, did I?" But I think at that point, Syne, you hear one of your demons say, "Mustard. You must ask for the mustard. We like the mustard."
Like flick an ash at them. So, Panzer, did you find out anything?
Yes, indeed. I came across a water spirit that I had previously dealt with before, and they delivered to me a most proficient prophecy. And then I described like the vision that I had of the Nazarene leaving the temple in flames and etc. and what I talked about with Yoldak to a very robotic degree, very procedural, very cold case.
Sounds quite thorough.
Indeed, I have reported it as I saw it.
So what do you think? Two statues walking around? I guess that's not surprising to you, right?
Indeed, statues do not generally have the ability of locomotion, where I am from, generally they must be built for that, and they are not generally built for that. In fact, there are only 10 of us that were built for that.
Hence the name, I suppose.
Yes.
So if you were walking away, where would you go?
Wherever I was told to go.
Whatever happened to the other 9?
The doctor never talked about the other 9. I was told that I was the 10th and that I was the success. And like at this point, Panzer does what is the closest approximation to beaming that you've ever seen them do. Like, it's like, that is what they feel pride about. It's like, I was the success.
Panzer lost teeth.
Their lips do this like weird thing where they're like,
That's close, that's close.
Okay, you success then. What did it mean to fail? Did this doctor ever tell you that?
That's classified.
Oh, okay.
Even to you?
Sorry, what?
Even to you?
To me, what?
Like you don't know? You don't know what happened to the other 9?
What do you mean?
Do you know what it means to fail? That's what we asked.
The definition of to fail means not to succeed.
As defined by your doctor.
That's classified. And then they blink and they're just back.
Okay. I think like Delilah like will kind of like lean back on in her seat and like share a look with Syne. It's very sibling vibe, like what's happening here? Yeah.
Guess
I
we got
think
another
this is
case on our plate.
that there is that. I think that's a good point to say. Someone is reaching for the light, especially in this moment with Panzer. So, Syne, do you think that's you who's reaching for the light, or do you think it's more Delilah?
Delilah, I think it might make more sense for you. I'll let it be your choice though. I think that I don't know if I was really putting my all into the conversation, almost kind of mocking. I was kind of mocking Panzer at some point.
Oh. Yeah, I'll roll. I think. No, I want to keep these darkness tokens. Someone has to explode at some point. Just for fun. Okay, so I'll just do a flat roll. Beautiful. That's a 6.
Well, I mean, you
Yeah.
could use a bond, but you know, it's just okay. We can see what happens on the 6.
Oh Jesus. I guess. Can I use both my bonds with Panzer? Because I do feel like noticing like, oh, there's something odd with them. I think that's kind of a bit important. I think Delilah is a bit more invested after seeing that. It's like, oh, it's a chink in their armor. So
Yeah, I think
my
that makes
bonds with them.
sense. Yeah, so that you can hit the 8. Yeah, so, I should read this out loud. So when you reach for the light, choose to comfort or support someone, roll plus darkness. So because you burnt both bonds to get a +2, you hit the 8 to 10. You both find the light in the dark. How do you gain hope? Each one of you choose one. You can gain or lose up to 3 tokens of darkness, create a new bond, gain or lose a point of doom, or mark XP. What do you prefer?
I think like the way kind of like Delilah like tries to like cover up this all we're looking at. I think she kind of like has this like slightly uneasy smile and just says, "Well, given you're quite a success, I'd hate to see what a failure looks like."
And then Panzer, like, because you haven't said the specific combination of like, what does a failed experiment look like to the doctor or something like that, like they're able to log that and they understand like, like what would happen if I failed? And so, yeah, like I think that there's a point where it's like, I hook in just enough.
Also, would both choose one of these for? I think I'll mark XP. It's more like, oh, I learned a new thing about Panzer.
I'm going to take 1 darkness because I am understanding a little bit more about myself.
I like. Everyone's so afraid to go for 3. But let's see. In my other playtest, they were like, nom, 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 give me all the darkness. So.
Well, they had 2 sessions. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's a small discovery. We'll work our way up.
No, but I really like it. I like how that that clarifies a lot of the fiction depending on how much you take. It's a nice little thing because PbtA really had that. But yeah, so with that, I think the fries arrive. And you can tell the new girl is a little nervous. She's trying to both look and not look at Panzer at the same time as she places the fries. And the milkshake. She has accidentally thought that everybody wanted a milkshake, so everybody gets milkshakes. That she places in front of you, and she's like, if you need anything else, just and then she disappears. She just walks back in the middle of her sentence.
I think
slide my milkshake off into a shadow for one of the demons.
Ooh, the milkshake. We have heard many things about this. And then you can like just hear the sound of, oh, this is quite hellish, quite good. Yes.
This is hellish. Good.
I think like Delilah reaches for like a fry, and then, they're still quite warm. In fact, they're probably really hot. But she kind of like just plucks one and just kind of like holding it. And I think you can see her skin is kind of like a bit red and inflamed, and she's kind of just looking at it like, And then she kind of like eats it.
Do you need a Band-Aid for that?
I don't know. Does it look like I need a Band-Aid?
We have the Band-Aid. We stole them from some people over there. Here. And they put out this like beaten up box of Band-Aids onto the table. Have one. Fairly stolen. Just for you.
Thanks, but I think she shoots another look at Syne. It's like, but I don't think I need it. What are these fries? What do these milkshakes taste like?
You never had a milkshake before?
I think like she reaches for hers and like takes a sip, and you can see like she's keeping like the bit that she made, she's kind of like sloshing in her mouth, and then she swallows. I can tell you the last milkshake I had before today, or before, but and she's looking at the milkshake with like just like a bit of confusion, like just like the confusion. It's just, but I don't know if I can tell you what this milkshake tastes like.
Jesus, Delilah, you don't even have your sense of taste anymore.
Syne, or I think like if any of you hit me in the head with a 2x4, I don't know if I'd feel it.
Yeah, I don't think I say anything to that. Oof.
Yeah, I think that would definitely hang over everybody, the idea of like hitting Delilah with a 2x4.
Is Panzer eating the fries?
No, in fact, actually, that's the moment where you look over and you realize that Panzer's like staring very intently at the both of you and has not touched their food. Like the milkshake is kind of like melting and like drizzling over the top, and the fries are like slowly like wilting in their basket, and they're just staring at you like very expectantly, waiting for you to eat your things.
I think this is kind of wasted on me, and she pushes her share to Syne.
More for us. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, they can take it. Panzer, at least like put on a show, make it look like you fit in.
Oh, yes, indeed. And they pick up a spoon and they look at this at the milkshake, and they just like put a big spoonful of it and then just like put it in their mouth and then start chewing it. And then like make a big deal of swallowing, and then realize that there's nowhere for it to go, and then so they take the cup and they very, very like demurely like put it back into the cup.
I'll just slide it into a shadow when you've had your fill. Okay.
It was cold.
Yeah, that's what it's meant to be.
I was hoping to experience the thing that you flesh things call taste. I do not think I did.
Well, that's probably something you have to be, I don't know, programmed with. Sorry.
It is not a concern. But like they turn away and they look a little disappointed.
Listen, you two, I'm gonna go outside. He's like waving the cigarette around, like I'm gonna go outside and finish this. Just sit tight.
Do you ever finish that?
I have observed he does not.
I probably won't clarify that. My goal, Jamie, is I just want to go use my move because it's such a setup when I become one with my power. I feel like that's something I do in private. I've got to get ready for a little cracked mirror.
Makes sense.
So that's my goal. But feel free to like stick on that scene though. Don't cut to me yet if y'all aren't done, you know.
Yeah, Delilah, Panzer, is there anything else you say as the camera focuses awkwardly on the two of you?
I think that I lean over at that point and I say, what did it feel like to die?
I think Delilah like stares at you. Like there's probably like in the shot of this, like uncomfortable 20-second, like just far away shot of the two of us at this booth. Well, I guess for many people it would depend. Mine was, I guess for me it was like falling asleep. Except you didn't want to go to sleep. It's like, you know you're supposed to go to sleep. You know that's what everyone does. End of the day, tuck in, and close your eyes and go off to somewhere else. I just thought I had a longer day ahead of me. Turns out I didn't.
What do you mean, go somewhere else?
Hold on. And she starts arranging the chips, the chips. Sorry, I'm using this side of the ocean slang now. The French fries, into like kind of like two big kind of like piles. And she says, "Well, there's a certain notion amongst certain circles that kind of like posit that certain concepts aren't just, an idea that someone thought up to define a fact of the world, like time or thickness even." And she's waving a particularly thick French fry. Certain concepts, some people posit, have an actual physical like place or physical existence. There are people who, when they go to sleep, they think they slip into that existence. It's like whatever's driving this kind of like unmoors and goes off to somewhere else. And there are many different places you can go when you're unmoored. I thought, well, I thought I could find a way to go to the place where, well, one goes when they die.
I am just confused. I do not go anywhere else when I go into power save mode. I remain where I am and I observe.
So you never dream? You never imagine when you go to sleep?
I know the technical definition of dream and imagine, but I do not understand what those actions entail.
Well, I think like Delilah like leans closer a bit. Do you want to see if you can?
Panzer like looks very like thoughtful for a second and then goes, why not?
Okay, so I think I thought like Delilah gets like a her demeanor lightens up, and I think she reaches into her pocket and she pulls out what looks like, what if a Zippo lighter but steampunk? Um, Try and imagine that. And I think she kind of like scooches closer to Hugh Panzer, which is helpful. It's not something she said she wanted to do, but it's happening. And I think because I kind of determined one of her powers of darkness is she has machines powered by soul magic, and I've noted down in her powers that basically the scent and essence of death haunts Delilah. She can harness that essence to power strange machines, along with communicating to those who have died. And I think I know what basic move I'm kind of like triggering with this. I think from your perspective, Panzer, you suddenly see this like weird, misshapen, ghostly figure that's kind of like behind Delilah, kind of like reaching over her shoulder and kind of blowing on the lighter as Delilah kind of like lights it up. And there's like this weird, dark, purplish smoke kind of starts to unfurl from the lighter. And I think the basic move for this is be the monster.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sorry, Panzer, you acquiesce to sniffing these death fumes. Okay, I think I will. Also, yeah, sorry in the chat there. Yeah, I don't know if Delilah's were acting with cold reason or logic. This is kind of like pushing the boundaries a bit. Honestly, it's like I want to see if you can dream. It's, so I don't think that's it. But I will spend one token of darkness for this. So that's a +1. That's a 4.
Oh, oh my gosh.
So.
Oh, but remember, for every miss, because we've had, this is your first real miss, right? Because I don't think you have enough bonds to, you mark XP for a miss.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, that's very good to know then.
Yes, yes.
Not missed.
So we learn from our mistake.
Yeah, I don't have enough bonds to. Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, yeah.
On a 7 minus, Doom holds you in your grasp. The keeper of the doors will say what happens next. I'm going to take a look at what the darkness demands of you again. So, to kill death, to fall in love with the destroyer of worlds. And we're right here with them. So, I think what happens is, Delilah, what were you hoping would happen? What did you hope it would look like?
I was hoping that once Panzer 10 got like a whiff of these fumes, it would like kind of infuse a bit into their self, so that when they go into power save mode, they'll be able to dream.
I see. And the thing is, as the fumes enter, you see that the tattoos start to light up and shift, and there's a strange hollow voice that comes through, activating security protocols, activating security protocols, activating security protocols. Panzer, what happened the last time? You suddenly have a flash, like a sharp memory. What happened the last time your security protocols were engaged?
I killed 10,000 demons. Yeah, like the flash that you see is just like, you see like that like little bot that followed me around everywhere. You see it saying like, security protocols criteria met, deactivating Alpha 3. And like you see like Panzer's eyes like go from like red, which they actually, that was the thing, is like every time I'd say like data like classified, like my eyes would flash this like weird red color, and then you see my eyes go from red back to like their normal like classy green. And like I stand up and look around, and it's just like carnage, and like an entire city has been decimated, and I have no idea how I got there.
Right, and so Delilah, you start to feel the ground start to shake as you can see that Panzer is drawing in all of this ambient energy from around them. The electricity is starting to flicker. You can hear some yelps from the kitchen, like, "Hey, what's happening?" Right, as everyone is starting to panic. I think we're going to cut back to you in a bit, because I do want to give our Pure a chance to do the move that he wanted to do. And I think it would tie in really well what's going to happen next. So,
Yeah.
oh
Well,
wait,
10
but
minutes
before we do
earlier.
that, we hit the top of the hour. I just looked at the
Oh, yeah.
time. So you can think about what we're going to do, but we'll cut back to Syne right after the break. So let's take a 10-minute break. All right, so I'll see you all in 10 minutes. Okay, so we're back. We are taking a look at what happened to Syne right before the shenanigans may or may not occur. Will probably occur. Let's be
Very
honest.
dangerous shenanigans.
But what does it look like? So Syne, when you go out onto the street, it's. I think we still established it's daytime, right? We didn't like not too much time has passed, and it's quite busy outside. It's a cramped street. So it's just one lane of cars. There are taxis going by. You see a lot of people outside who are also trying to smoke in this heat, looking very unhappy about it. They're just like, it's so hot, but I need to smoke, happening on the corner. So what do you do?
I think I'm looking for a dark alley, basically. And even if I have to like climb over power boxes, squeeze to like some little back dark little place, I'll do it. I think this is like the most shameful part of Syne's like monstrosity, is basically, like coming face to face with truly what embodying means. Yeah, so I climb back there, and lots of shadows. Maybe we get like a good like one harsh beam of sunlight, so we can barely make out Syne's figure amongst all this shadow. Maybe there's a lot of these demons popping up and sort of like making way. Making way for Syne, like standing around him. And then I think how I invoke this move, what it looks like is that Syne reaches down into a shadow, and when he does, it's like he's putting his hands into like water, and he like brings it up, and he's like cupping this like darkness, right? It's spilling out of his hands as water would, but it's inky, almost non-reflective, and just gonna drink it. No big deal.
I like. And what does it look like when you do?
Yeah, so I think it looks like he's just drinking water, and amazing, right? But when we see in Syne's figure, I think these tattoos that are on him, I think they like crawl up his neck and onto his face. I think, despite what the photo on the Google Sheet shows, I think he usually doesn't have face tattoos, but now they start like climbing on and like slowly filling into images. Maybe we get like a real good evocative like couple of teardrops that almost look animated.
And I like the idea of like, those traditional tattoos where it's just a lady's hand, but it's like stroking your cheek.
Yes, yeah. That's real good.
Cool.
Yeah, it starts to really take on a life of its own, embracing Syne into this darkness.
All
And
right.
I think I'm going to use both my darkness tokens.
Mhm.
I love all three options though. I would be fine with failing. I would be fine with fully succeeding, but it makes sense to me to use both tokens. So that's what I will do. And I forgot to pull up the dice room.
That's okay. You need the link?
I can pull it. Open the safety. 1 second. Name. What's my name? I'm sorry, I'm clicking everything like it's on Roll for Your Friend. Roll
No,
for Your
that's
Party.
okay. Yeah, I remember one time I forgot to change my name and it was like Dallas Dice Roller. Rolled this. And I'm like, okay.
Who's down? All right. Okay. That's an 11.
Ooh, an 11.
I drank too deeply.
Ooh, on an 11 plus, your power resists. Hold 3 and choose 1 from below. What does it look like when your power resists you?
Yeah, I think as I like finish drinking and I'm like, I think Syne is standing there, mouth sort of agape, just taking this all in, becoming one with his power. And I like this image of this hand like stroking Syne's cheek from this tattoo. I think that the hand moves to the neck and it's like gripping him, and we see these like demons have gotten closer and even like crawling up him, and then one of the demons like shoots down his throat and is like pulling back out of him this darkness, or is trying to.
I kind of like the idea like
Resisting.
all the cutesy demons are like off to the side, like a little afraid, and it's the darker, more serious ones that are surrounding you. So
That's really good.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, so you still get to hold 3. Ooh, I realized I should type a place where you can put in your hold. But just obsessively do that for a moment. Okay, and you get to hold, hold 3 and choose 1 from below.
Yeah, so I think I have to choose my form is cruelly changed. So say how your form is cruelly changed, or say how your power cruelly changes your form. What's the permanent? What does this look like permanently? Maybe Oh, you know what? The hand that was on the cheek that moved down to the throat, I think maybe the camera pulls back a little bit in this tiny space, and we see that it's like my own shadow. It's like gripping my neck. And maybe that's like, to get this power, I'm like fighting off demons, but I also have to like wrestle my own shadow into submission, basically.
Yeah, maybe there was like something that happened during the sacrifice where there's this darker version of yourself.
Oh, maybe it was something like the person who sacrificed me. This is like how it really messed up was I like embodied this demonic horde and they were like absorbed into it. So maybe now the shadow person is like being truly haunted.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, and when we see that there's this voice that just keeps whispering your name over and over again. Like it's both loving and curseful, right?
the audience just hears static because it's my real name.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah, just like pure terror and Senzai's grappling with this like truth. Maybe something I thought, but now it's like kind of confirmed. Being haunted. This sucks.
I like it. I like it. And then we see the demons going, "Oh no."
My only friends.
Yeah. I like this a lot. Oh, okay. And then on that note, gosh, I think that's when you feel the earth start to, because you crawled into the space, but I assume it's still pretty nearby.
Yeah, just like right behind it or something.
Yeah. And so you can feel the earth shaking. When you look around, you've like you sort of squeezed yourself in around like those like aircon things, those aircon fan things. And you notice the ones attached to the restaurant are like starting to pull in. They just crumple and like all of this metal, like as if it's just softness. And you can sense that something is absolutely wrong. And I think that Shadow is going to lean in and say, "You're going to be too late. You're not going to be able to save them. You can't save anyone."
Fuck you, Shadow. I'm gonna take a drag on my cigarette, flick the ash, and just say "fuck you." And I'm gonna spend the hold to slip back into the restaurant, so that nothing can stop you breaking through or slipping past any barriers, blah blah blah.
Ooh, okay, yeah, definitely.
Hit it now.
Yeah.
I didn't want to use my hold now, but I'll do it.
But that's good because that means you're instantly there. So you see the tattoos moving, you see the eyes are flashing red, you see the electricity sparking off. You can sense that Panzer is sucking in everything into themselves. And you notice like the waitresses nearby, and there were like two other people at another far off booth. They go down onto their knees and tattoos start forming on their skin, and they're just confused, like it's burning. They're like touching their skin and they don't know what's happening, and it looks like the tattoos that Panzer has on. What do you do?
God, yeah, I'm just gonna be the hero here. I'm gonna spend another hold. This is a good move. I'm gonna shield others from terrible harm by channeling the darkness. But I'm gonna let my humanity slip and mark another doom, so I can have one more hold just in case.
Oh, I like this.
Oh, maybe it's the good little demons. No, the good little demons have to like jump all over them and like protect them.
Bye. Like they're all like, "We got you." Aw, I like how there are good demons and scary demons. Like,
yeah, and I'm thinking maybe that's how my humanity slips, because I basically have to like sacrifice. Maybe the division exists. Oh, this is real good. It's all dualities now. This division exists because there's some demons that are my demons, who are the cute, nice ones, and then there are other demons who are my shadows demons, who are the scary ones. So yeah, I think that's how we see my humanity slip, because I'm gonna have to sacrifice the good ones.
oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, and then so like you see like as they get close, they reach out their little hands and they touch and people are like, "What? What's happening?" But when they touch the skin, they suck in the tattoos, and you realize that what the tattoos were trying to do was draw out their essence, like feed on their souls and pull it in. But the demons are doing it instead, sacrificing themselves to save people. So Panzer and Delilah, what do you do when you see this? You see like Syne come in really badass, just like through the wall, like and throw out his demons. What did the two of you do?
What's Panzer doing?
Well, Panzer is dealing with the fact that their consciousness is quickly getting overtaken by higher programming that is very, very aggressively overriding their actual personality. And generally they would go with this because you get like quick flashbacks of like Scout 10 generally telling them like, "It's fine, just go with it. It's fine, just go with it." But Scout 10 is not here. So Panzer's starting to panic. And I think that this might, I have a mechanical question actually. So I think what's going to happen here is that I'm going to trigger sometimes I get angry, regardless of what happens. So, but like when I unleash my darkness through anger and violence, I can gain darkness. But when I unleash it through compassion and mercy, I discard darkness to override the like security protocol. I feel like takes more darkness than I have. What happens there? Is there a negative darkness?
Oh, no, there isn't a. Hmm. I see what you mean, because like you're thinking like to discard like maybe 2 to 3, but you're currently at 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think there's a negative darkness. But I like the idea of it. That's like very cool. But yeah, definitely. So you're going to discard it and then unleash the dark. Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, so I'm thinking that the basically like, you know what happens is like, because we haven't seen this yet, but basically what happens when Panzer fights, they reconstitute the glass of their body into like various different weapons. And so what happens is actually like their face like splits in half, and one half goes like red eye, like kill, kill, kill mode, and the other one like tries to like peel off and screams at Delilah. It's like, you need to get out of here. At the same time that the other one is like locking on, and they hold out a hand, and like the fingers of their hand like just reconstitute into a blade that they immediately raise as if they're going to lunge it at Delilah. And then there's like this force of like hand catching the hand, and it sinks into like the booth like an inch away from your shoulder. So
This whole time, Delilah's just kind of been standing there, kind of like just look at you like with a bit of awe. I don't think she even registered. You told her to move, to move, to get out of here.
yeah, so since it's not like completely overpowering it, and I'd love to see what happens when I lose control, I'm gonna say I sacrifice the 1 dark token to my compassion and mercy before I unleash the dark.
But we were looking at the chat, and actually like Darren brought up a good point. Like maybe you could roll with a negative modifier. Do you want to try playtesting that idea, or do you want to just stick with?
I'm fine with it. Like I'm very much in the camp of like rules are made to be amended as fits the story. So
yeah, so let's try it. I like it. So how much do you want to lose? How far into the negative do you want to go?
So if I'm gonna try to completely control this and like get the heck out of Dodge before I hurt anybody, that's gonna be like a -3. So I have the 1 darkness, so I would assume that's a -2 modifier.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, let's see how badly this goes. All right. So I have a -2, and that's a 4 on Unleash the Darkness.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, ooh, and it's blissfully open for whatever. Yeah, I think I want to ask, what happens when you try to unleash the darkness and you're holding back at the same time, and you see Delilah in front of you, just in shock? What does it look like?
So basically, like this is all from the perspective of Delilah, and you see like the fractures of the face. Like they're doing this like really quick like breaking down, reforming, and you see like faces of like, you know, Panzer trying to keep control, and then Panzer like ready to murder everything, and you just see them like kind of like overlapping and quickly taking form until finally like it just like goes smooth, and it's like Death Panzer with like the red eyes, and they speak, but their voice is not in the high register that they use with like flesh beings. It's very low, and it's basically just like security protocol Alpha 7 activated.
I like it. That's really good. Go ahead and mark XP, by the way. And I'm going to say that also what happens is this like, oh, what is this anime name? But like, so Panzer bends over forward and their back starts to open up, and it's like this. It's when you look at it, it just feels very atomic bomb. Like there's this lever that comes out and it starts to turn itself. And it says, please step away from the weapon, step away from the weapon, step away from the weapon. Self-arming activated. Delilah, what are you going to do? Oh, also, I think, Panzer, this is technically overreacting with violence if you want to take a darkness token, or keep it to the negative. I'll leave it up to you.
Sorry, my mind blanked there. I don't know why. I think I was typing. So I was trying to type something, so I don't in the chat. What exactly?
Oh, no worries. It's okay. Oh, also, did I tell you to mark XP for that miss technically?
Yes.
But yeah. Okay. So basically, what's happening is Panzer was asking you to get out of there, trying to hold themselves back, but their back is opening up now, and there's this huge like atomic bomb looking trigger thing going on. Like it looks really bad. It's really, really bad. It's super bad. I cannot stress that enough. How bad this looks.
Yeah, I think Delilah is kind of like screw up her face to try to look tough, but that's not what it should be. Just try to like stand her ground, and I think I'm going to try to like reach out to Panzer by saying about as loud and as hard as I can. So I guess this is what a failure looks like, Panzer. This is my attempt to reach out for the light by reacting with code, logic, or reason.
Oh, nice. So good.
And I'm going to spend that darkness token I took, I'm going to invest into this, into this move. Okay. So it's a +1. Let's see how this goes. Oh, come on. That's a 6. Well, look, Syne is there. I'm going to call on their pawns to try and like use this up.
What she means, Panzer, is just trying desperately to salvage that.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So,
either
so
way, I don't know how
the
Syne
bonds.
helps, but yeah, I'll burn those 2 bonds.
I'm trying to stay calm. So, this is good though. This is good. When you reach for the light, so we hit an 8 to 10, right, by burning both those bonds. So each of you choose one. What does it look like? Like, how does this moment happen between the two of you while all of this is falling apart?
I defer to Panzer to those words reach you in some way.
Oh my god. So I mean, honestly, yeah, I was literally thinking like this is that moment where it's like you do like the what is it? Ontological scene in an anime where like Panzer's just like sitting there like fetal position in like a very dark place. And then like, you know, transparent anime style Delilah appears there and it's just like, so this is what a failure looks like, eh? And Panzer like looks up at your ghost figure and like scowls and it's just like, I'm not a failure. This is your fault. And I'm totally going to come out of it, but I need you to bully me into it.
Yeah. That's right. This is my doing. So what are you going to do about it?
I like kind of like get up on one elbow and I'm like, I suppose I will have to fix your mess again.
I think like Delilah smirks, or at least this ghost version of her that's talking to you, and like smirks, and she lights a cigarette using her Zippo lighter, and she says, "That's why I keep you two around." Now, who knows if any of this is like, properly like what they would say, but I think it's in the liminal area where like maybe it could be.
So what happens is like Panzer stands up and scowls at you, and like they do that like focus on the clenched fist thing, and then immediately just like hauls off and like punches the ghost you, and then it does that jump cut where it's not you, it's like the red-eyed Panzer inside, and just like it's a beat down, and then like suddenly like red-eyed Panzer is gone and regular Panzer's back in control, and you see them just like heaving and like breathing heavily, and the shell of their back like collapses and closes back in. And in order to sally that all up, I'm gonna have to take 3 darkness.
Ooh, I think that makes sense. Absolutely.
I think as I kind of watch you like kind of come back to self, I think, well, Delilah doesn't feel good about any of this. So I think I'm going to mark a point of doom.
Wow. Doom and darkness, yes. Yeah, I would have normally asked Panzer to listen to the dark, but because Delilah was reaching for the light, I think that's able to keep Panzer in the moment. And I think what that looks like is when you come back to yourself, like all the pictures on the wall are screwed around with, some have fallen off, some of the lights have burst, and people are just like frozen. They're just like staring at the 3 of you, just like in absolute shock. And then one person just starts screaming, ah, like out of because she doesn't know what else to do. She's in the booth and she's just screaming uncontrollably, not knowing what to do. What did the 3 of you do?
We'll take our check.
I think like Delilah like will put her lighter back into like her coat, and I think she'll just kind of say, in the general direction of Panzer, whoever made you probably had the right of it. Maybe we don't need to dream.
Okay, I think that's it. Oh, go ahead.
And Panzer just kind of stands up and like pulls on the remainders of their robe because it got all shredded when their back burst open, and just like tries to pull it up and like says, yes, I would appreciate if you kept that flesh being stuff to yourself, and then just like very determinedly walks out of the restaurant.
Ooh, I like that. Very cool. All right, so I think at that point, I just love how we're just getting up to our shenanigans. It's so monstrous, so cool. Yeah, so do we want time to pass, or everybody just sort of like take some time to get over what happened? I think I'd like a montage, like a glimpse of what your characters are up to before night falls in response to all of this. I mean, if you decide you're going to be spending time with each other instead of alone, that's also cool. But yeah, I think I want to start with Syne. What do you do during this time?
God, there's many things now. Many things on Syne's plate. I think I just want to be, let's see.
I do have an idea if you don't have one.
Well, I was thinking of maybe like watching Panzer, pining from afar, basically. Maybe both as a way to distract myself, and also as sort of like because I don't know if I've ever seen, like I know about Panzer, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like that, right? So sort of like watching Panzer to make sure that they're fine, watching Panzer to be like, am I more turned on? Just doom and darkness.
Disaster person? Am I more drawn to this?
Yeah.
Perfect. Before I get to that, Panzer, what are you up to? What does Syne watch you doing, or are they unable to keep up with you?
Well, now that I, as the player, know that they're peeping on me, they're going to a bathhouse, if that's a thing that they can track down, so that they can have a number of beautiful, scantily clad people polish them up.
There's this really nice bathhouse in there. We are in the red light district after all, so there's a really nice one.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to go for a fancy ass one, or do you want to go for a middle way, or do you want to go for like, why are people here?
I am on the division's dime, and also currency means nothing to me, so I shall be treated well because that is what befits the stature of a creation such as myself.
Absolutely. There is a hotel nearby with this beautiful onsen. It has won awards locally and all that shit. So no worries. It's absolutely stunning, absolutely beautiful. So we get all these really nice shots. I think I would even go so far as to say like the hotel knows of the division, and when they see your torn up trench coat, they like offer you a kimono because it's a Japanese kind of hotel. So they offer you up a beautiful kimono, black silk with white cranes on it for you. And they don't say anything because that would be rude. They just leave it there for you to use or not use.
Yeah, and I think that that's the thing where it's just basically like I go in and I don't even like pay attention to the people at the front desk. I just walk into like a private room that I know is there because we've been here before, and I like go up to like a small box and I like check the full service menu and like slip it into the little box, and I just wait for people to come pamper me.
Absolutely. I think while this is happening, Syne, and you're watching like from the shadows, you hear that same fluttering of wings, and you hear a familiar voice that says, "What are you up to, Trash?"
I just have to remind myself on their name. Crow. Okay.
Sure, no worries.
Um. I'm just trying to forget some things, Crow. Unpleasant reminders of my past.
By spying on someone, and like they're completely aware. It's like this beautiful like onsen area with the fog, the heat coming off right of the stones, and she's crossing her legs looking at you like it's her shadow crow magic that's hiding her, the same way your demon magic is hiding you. And she says, "I told you the division is dangerous. I got the report. I know what almost happened."
Do us a favor, Crow, and just forget about it. We'll be out of here soon enough.
Well, it's going to cost you if you want me to leave this out of my report.
Interesting. Do I care? Doesn't care.
Because I think a lot of mages would be very interested in that thing, she says, pointedly talking about Panzer.
Okay. No, I care. Just name your price, Crow.
I think when you do that, she comes close and she says, "A date. Dress nicely. I'll meet you at 11.
Hold on. What about the cracked moon getting your apprentice back?
I'm sure he can wait a little bit. Are you going to take long? Or, you seem the quick type, I think," she says.
That kind of date. One very long pull from a cigarette, the smoke mixing in with the mist. My God. I can't believe I'm being scandalized like this. Let me listen to the dark. I am dealing with some forceful emotional trauma. Although I don't know, from pressure from your past responsibilities. Well, yeah, pressure from my responsibilities.
Yeah, that's true. That does make sense.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
So let's roll for that. Also,
I'm
feel
also
free to
kind of
skip
a
change if
pass.
I'm being too scandalous. Just let me know.
No, I love it. I love it. This works out so well. I was aiming for Listen to the Darker. This is not the avenue I was thinking. Okay, how much dark? It might be all 3 darkness tokens.
Okay,
Because
okay.
yeah, this is pretty dicey with like relationship stuff. This is for sure. Yeah, the more I like read it and thought about it, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely like hits for Syne, my character whose name I forgot. You know.
Yeah, makes sense.
So let me roll +3. Don't know why I closed the dice room.
That's okay.
Eventually I'll open it. Okay. 7, 2, 6, 8, 19, 11. Yep, that's what I get.
On the
For
dot.
9
Oh
plus 3.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so on Listen to the Dark, 11 plus, you must either flee the scene, mark doom, or lose all your darkness tokens.
All right. I'll mark doom because this I am taking this seriously, but oh, that's impactful. That hits.
Ooh, yeah.
I think I took that long drag of the cigarette, and when I breathe out the smoke, there's that shuddering breath. Yeah, I think Crow sees here like the cost. Probably Crow knew, right? And maybe knew how kind of cruel it was, but there's no denying it now. Yeah, it's too close to taking on a lover, finding a love and everything. And I think Syne just says, oh, I guess I'll be as fast as you want, Crow.
Well, if you insist on taking your time with me, I can wait until you're done. And then she gives you this hotel key card. And she says, remember to wear something nice. And Syne, don't worry. This doesn't have to mean anything.
Was there a chance it ever would have?
And when you say that, there's like you pick up this flicker of loneliness on her face. And she smiles and she knows you can tell she's lying. And she says, no, not a chance. While you are spying on Panzer, this conversation is going on.
Really ruin the mood.
Okay, so before we come back to Panzer, because we just got, I'd like to give Panzer a chance to do something aside from being, watched. What is Delilah up to?
Delilah has kind of like wandered off on her own, away from the other two, partially because she's feeling a bit shamed about what happened, and also partially to see if any of them would go after her. So far, we can see none of them are, which makes sense. She kind of was backing on that, but it still stings. I'll take that token for feeling ignored.
Just the one, or?
Oh wait! Oh yeah, you can choose. Huh.
Yeah, how bad do you feel? Basically, is the question.
But the thing is, it's kind of justified that they'd ignore her at this moment because she kind of like took a risk, didn't really pay off.
But even if it's justified, how do you feel about it?
Yeah. I think she's thinking like maybe if like she had done something differently, like maybe not waft that much death essence on Panzer X's face. Maybe not do it in a crowded area where there's lots of emotions, running rampant. Maybe it was something more controlled. Instead, she got excited. She got like carried away, and that's kind of what it led to. She didn't really realize what she was dealing with what Panzer X could do, what could be in them. Fine, I'll take another token. Sure, why not? Yeah, so I think Yeah, what did happen to your doc?
I left him mid-explosion.
Oh,
We'll have to ask that door when they get back.
maybe like while Panzer X being pampered, we kind of pan to the next room, and there's also Yodoc being pampered.
Maybe. I'll ask Enter.
Gildoc
Yeah.
is surprisingly a hedonist.
But yeah, I'm gonna definitely roll a move. Create a love letter for Yolduck. That's gonna be so funny. But anyway,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think apropos of like whatever else is doing, I think, or regardless what anyone else is doing, Delilah's kind of wandering around the direction of the what's the name of the inn, the place, the Cracked Mirror. Just kind of not gonna go in because like that'll be dumb, but kind of like just be in that general area. I think she kind of like wants to get away from all the drama and back into the work. And
Do you want to grasp her keys, or do you want to do something else?
I want to trigger a move called Death Walked Here. Like, if she was in a more stable emotional state, like not having done what she did, it probably would be grasp for keys. But I think this is more like, no, let's try and call on death.
I like it.
Maybe don't answer me this time.
It's like, no, what's happening to this family? But yeah, so let me pull up the move. Okay, so death reaches all places and into the heart of all things. When you seek to reconstruct events or learn something valuable in an area, roll plus darkness. How much darkness are you investing in the roll?
I'm gonna invest 2. That sounds good. Yeah, I think what this looks like is like Delilah standing kind of like outside the cracked mirror, and she pulls out another cigarette, pulls out her steampunk lighter, and when she kind of like lights it, again that purple hued smoke kind of like starts spurting from it and kind of starts drifting towards the ground. It looks heavy. That's what the smoke. That's why it goes towards the ground, and it kind of like starts creating this like Scottish foggy moor landscape around the cracked mirror. And the ghostly companion behind Delilah kind of starts it from our perspective. It looks like it starts whispering in her ear, but nobody hears anything. It just kind of looks like it's hunched over and talking to her. So yeah, invest 2 darkness tokens. Let's see if I actually. I don't think I rolled a single success. I had to use bonds. I've had to use bonds.
That's true, but we're out of bonds.
Yeah, I'm out of bonds. It's perfect. Why she's here all alone. All right, let's roll this. All right, I got an 11. So plus 2 is actually that's a 13.
Amazing. Okay, so choose from one above and one from below.
Okay. What evidence here will help my investigation? What does death show? Oh, what does death show that will help me with my investigation?
Is this the first time death has appeared to you during an investigation, or?
I don't think death has ever appeared. I think what it is just like this essence that like I could like connect to. It's kind of coming from their realm, but I don't think death itself, which Delilah is always kind of categorized like as a force, but like an actual like living force, like wind. That's kind of how she categorized what death is. The problem is like death won't let her enter the realm. That's the main problem. But like tapping onto their realm lets her like see at least some glimpses.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I'm just trying to make it different because I remember when we played Oathbreakers, death was an actual talking like entity. And I'm gonna make it a bit different here.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so when that happens, there are bits and pieces. You can see it's like when you fast forward or rewind through a tape. You see like all these like jumbled up images. Wait, let me just check our lines and veils real quick just to make sure that we're not stepping on anything. Yeah, so you see that unfortunately in the area there have been a few accidental deaths here. Someone getting too drunk, they fall over, hit something on the head. There have been a few not accidental deaths. There have been a few murders in the area, but you know that it's not important. It's not related to the investigation. What is death in a city full of millions of people? There's going to be a lot of it. So the information scrubs through. But then you see, like doop, doop, doop. We have so many tabs. So many tabs. You asked what evidence here will help my investigation.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that because outside of the crack mirror, there's like it's an open in area. It's like an inn within an inn. So there's another one here that has a name that's been rubbed out. And you can see like there are these tables and chairs just made of natural wood, and death shows you that the wood starts to shake and shiver, and a hand comes out of the wood, and someone walks onto the area and reaches out a hand, and you can hear a voice that says, "My love, we just have to hide a little longer. They've promised us a real life. We won't have to hide for much longer." And you can see that someone is pulling that hand out of the table. It's shifting and forming into what looks like the image of the Black Nazarene, just a little bit, but like it's just a suggestion of it. The hair is still there, the braided hair and the dark wooden face, but it's morphed into like a different person almost. And you see the two of them kissing each other very gently. Just a little longer. They've promised us that they can get us the other two. We'll take from them what they took from us.
Other two, huh?
Right, and just to like make it extra clear, so you are looking for the two missing ones, but these are the newer ones, right? And so far you've been seeing like psychic flashes of the original two from 1945. So there is a
so
distinct difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, the one that you see, I think it'll be up to us and how we interpret it. We don't know if they're the new pair or the older pair, right? That you see.
Do I have to like grasp for keys to like properly like put that all together?
Sure, if you want to.
Yeah. I think before that, let's answer the other half of this.
For sure. One second.
Yeah. On 11 plus, choose one from above and one from below. Oh.
Sorry, go ahead. We were talking about milk tea. Very important conversation.
Yeah, I think. Hold on, I want to look at something. Okay. I think death lingers and holds you. I will take 3 tokens of darkness.
Nice.
What is that? I think.
Yeah, what does that look like?
I think Delilah feels like a flutter on the back of her neck, and when she kind of turns around to like try and find where it came from, we kind of get that cut, and she's back standing at the edge of this like elevated walkway where she was in this like busy fuzzy city, and again she feels kind of like that flutter, and she turns around to reach it, and we cut again, and we're kind of like back to like the restaurant, and Panzer X kind of like looming over her, except when they lunge this time they don't bat away their arm in time, and then when that blade kind of like just as they connect onto Delilah, it kind of cuts back, and she's back to crack mirror. And I think like suddenly like she feels like this wave of like small like weakness kind of like go over her, and she kind of like hunches around her like lighter, and she can like start sucking on that cigarette, and then kind of realizing, much like much like with the French fry, there's nothing there, so she kind of just throws that away in anger.
I like it. I like it. Very cool.
Okay. If you don't mind, before I roll this grasp for keys, we can cut the Panzer X. See what their shenanigans
Sure.
do.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. So let's cut. So Panzer, aside from being peeped on, uh, what are you up to? Aside from being beautiful, I guess. Let's phrase it that way. Aside from being gorgeous.
Sorry, the mute thing. I was trying to use their like quick toggle, like hold space bar, but all it kept doing was putting spaces in the chat. So yeah, Panzer is, preening. Because if Panzer does have one human emotion, it's pride. And but I think that they also really need to deal with the thing that they've just like realized and understood about themselves. Because anytime, like, so I think this is probably the first time that Panzer has realized that there is some unknown parts of their code, that there are protocols in place that are meant to activate and then wipe their memory, and they're not cool with that. They don't like the idea that something could override their conscious choices and force them to do something that they want, and then that they would just have to cope with, like, okay, well, that's a thing I did, I'm gonna have to take everybody's word for it. They don't want to accept that, like, that this is a thing that they don't have power over. And so I think that this is a good listen to the dark moment.
Oh, I like it. Very cool.
Yeah, and I like the idea that it's taking place in like what is actually probably a very bright and very well lit and very, like, pristine kind of place. It's the perfect place for the darkness to seep in.
Oh yeah, there's like this beautiful, they set out this beautiful Japanese tea set for you. And there are all these people coming back and forth setting it up, but you're left alone with this beautiful, in this beautiful room surrounded by flowers.
Yeah, so I think that, so what's going on is like they're sitting there and they're sitting in like seiza, like on their knees, like in the very proper like tea ceremony way, and they like try to pick up the cup and then bring it to their lips to take a drink, and their hand like tremors and like flinches and like starts to try to like transmogrify itself of its own volition. And so they like grab their hand and like pull it close. And that's the moment where they are listening to the dark by dealing with the forceful emotional turmoil and pressure of their past.
I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so how much darkness are we investing in the role?
I think that this is probably a 2, because it's more than mild curiosity, but it's not their whole being, because I think they're still probably scared of what they'll figure out.
Makes sense.
So that goes from a 3 to a 1 for my darkness. And I'm going to roll my 2d6. Oh, it's 11.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Okay. So on an 11, you must either flee the scene, mark doom, or lose all your darkness tokens.
Okay, so I just want to clarify. So when you listen to the dark, is this kind of like the gaze into the abyss where it's gonna like reveal something to me, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was going between the abyss from Monster Hearts and also because this is based on the Hearts of Wulin Inner Turmoil move. But yeah, I was about to offer like a glimpse of what you see so that you can make a better decision of what choice you make.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see what the flavor for the preview is and then make my choice from that.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm taking notes for the playtest. Okay, but so just writing it down before I forget. Okay, and what you see, like there's a moment where it's that weird like thing where there's this like screeching sound and rapid cuts, right? That's what we see. And everything flashes back to another moment when you are drinking tea across your creator. And he looks at you and he smiles very sadly. You are truly just absolutely perfect, Panzer, in every way. Perhaps I should have... No, I will not shy away from perfection, he says, and he slowly puts down his teacup and he reaches out for you. And that's when we see like your face is all opened up and there are all these strange machineries going on the inside. But from what is supposed to be your eyes, it looks like there's this liquid flowing, almost like it's tears. And he says, you are truly beautiful in your perfection. The apocalypse you create, everyone will be grateful for it.
That is so Mark Doom.
Okay. There you go. But yeah, and you can tell me what happens to the rest of the scene if you like.
Okay, let me think for a second. So yeah, basically the present day Panzer. And so what's happening is it's almost like how we kind of saw like, you know, like auto Panzer and then like conscious Panzer in like the kind of like ontological space. We see like modern day Panzer sitting right next to like past life Panzer. And there's a moment where like you see like a seam start to form in present day Panzer's face. And they raise a hand and like hold their face closed, literally hold their face closed with one hand. And as they're doing this and their shoulders are starting to shake, they lower a hand to the side and they place it on the ghost of like past Panzer. And for like a moment, it seems almost like it's not going to do anything. And then you actually see past Panzer's hand wrap around and grip, like as if they were in like a different time, like they were in the same place for a moment. And then it's gone. And yeah.
Oh, I like that so much. That's so good. And I think when we cut back, we see you and your reflection in the tea, like as if mimicking that moment between you and this other Panzer. Yeah, oh, so good. Okay, so on that note, I realized we forgot to take a break. So let's take our last break before we get into it. So let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll get back into it. All right, see you all in 5 minutes. All right, so we're back from our break. Oh, there's so much going on, right? And so I think this is a good time to cut back to Delilah, who was grasping keys, to learn more about what is going on, unless someone else has an idea in mind for what they'd like for their character.
I guess one question I do have is, so Syne was spying on Panzer and probably witnessed that little, you know, like mini moment of torment. And so I'm just wondering what their reaction was to that.
Yeah, that's true. I think yeah, I think it was just more general interest, right? If I'm like sitting back on like a steam room bench sort of thing, this is almost so lecherous, which is not my goal with it, but just sort of enjoying the steam as one does. I think seeing you switch into this like moment and this reverie, I think Syne probably just like leaned forward and like was actually paying attention. You know what I mean? Like catching you in a moment of humanity seems like a new thing to witness, especially after seeing almost blow up. So yeah, I think just more more observation. Yeah, just closely watching that moment. And then I think I would have like left by the end of that point, like to try and sneak out before you, and just like having collected some thoughts and everything.
So I will say, Panzer, you are a weapon that was designed. I will give you the option to have known that Syne was watching the whole time or not.
I think that, you know what it is? There was like, as you were creeping away, you stepped on a floorboard and it gave like a really loud squeak. And like a part of you like looks behind you to see if like anything happens, and Panzer like doesn't react. Like the camera shows Panzer in the room and like they don't react, but then like as you continue to creep away, they raise like the mug of tea and then they just like smirk because they knew you were there the whole time.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I like that though. This group, this family, these lovers. What's going on? All right, so I think that's when we cut back to Delilah gathering the facts, trying to make sense of what they're looking at with these flashbacks. Which pair of Black Nazarenes are we looking at?
Yeah, I think like as soon as like death is probably the feeling of death is probably still lingering around, but like I think Delilah is like almost trying to physically push it away, but she still has to keep the purple fume smoke going to keep these flashbacks going, just to like witness it enough to like kind of like put it all together. Yeah, so I'll invest one token. So I've suddenly gained a pool of them. I don't know where they came from. Okay. Oh, that's a 10.
Just on the edge. Very good.
Yeah.
Just on the edge. On an 8 to 10, you uncover Key of the Apocalypse. The Keeper of the Doors will tell you what it is. Yeah, so as you take a closer look, as you step towards it, I think we like see flashes of the dossier, of the files, going over it. And there's some telltale signs. You're putting two and two together. And you realize that these two that Death is showing you is definitely the original set. You can feel the magic coming off of them that that our Sasquatch was talking about before, the spell that was cast on them. So when you put two and two together, you realize they have been around for a long time. So even because they just went missing in 1945, but they've basically been around. They arrived in Manila in 1606. So I'm going to, that's like a long time. And you get the feeling that they have been sentient for that long. Yeah, so I'm going to put that in the clues.
Yeah. Actually, give me a minute so I can see what the second clues.
Yeah, because I can't do math, but that's like a long time. That's a long ass time. It's like centuries, right? So
400 years.
Yeah. And they have been through a lot. Like if you look at the dossier and stuff, they have been almost destroyed numerous times. It was really just the bombing that took them out. And like they had to be replaced over the years, bits and pieces. But compared to the ones now, they survived the longest. The current ones that are missing, they were replaced. Parts of them were replaced so often. There were even like believers like during the procession who would steal bits of them and run off in the middle of it.
Do I see like bits of this history? Yeah, Death is kind of showing me like all these pieces.
Yeah, laying it out for you. And I think that would show you that Death is very invested in these two. Death has a very unique interest in what's going on. These things that are alive but not alive, these things that have evaded death and destruction so many times and are defying their destiny together. Death is very, very invested.
The best of things that are alive but not alive. Never heard
Sounds
that before.
familiar. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like when I was feeling elated putting it all together, but then I get that sensation, and I think I just angrily like shut off the zipper and kind of like make the smoke go away. And I'm just like again back to an annoyed self, and I think I'm annoyed enough that sorry to the other two. I'm gonna go into the crack mirror. I'm just going in to get a drink. We'll be
Nice.
fine.
Nice. I like that. poor, poor older brother Syne. Like, what's happening? Like, I leave you for a second to go stalk the other one. So so when you enter, so this particular inn, so this one, the one on top, this one is for like mortals and everybody else. But you know, yeah, I'll even say that, you know, just to continue, you have this sense like death as wind, as a force is sort of pushing you um, towards the door at the back that's unmarked, and you know that's going to lead you to the crack mirror. The door opens up, and there are these short stairs that descend downwards, and the walls are just lined with rich velvet, and they're like not paintings, but um, there's like woodcuts and impressions. I'm trying to remember what the name of it was. Like people used to wear these necklaces with these pendants that had these faces on them, like that kind of art where it's just an impression of a person. Um, and it's all quite claustrophobic. It's quite close to each other. And as you descend, there's this smell of incense. It's very specifically the kind of incense smell that you can that you smelled at a church before, during the offering, during mass. And as you enter down below, there's just soft lights, lots of candles all over the place. The logical part of your brain is like, who lights all of these candles? There's like dozens upon dozens of these. Does someone light them one by one? And as you get there, there is a woman with long white hair, and she's dressed in these clothes that kind of remind you of a priest, kind of like a modern version of a priest. And she smiles warmly at you. And I think this is a good point to roll first encounter to see if you have a connection with these
Yeah.
sisters or not.
Yeah, I'll spend another darkness token. So give me +1. All right, that's an 8. Wow, this is going really well.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. I like how surprised you sound. I haven't gotten myself into more trouble. Okay. So on first encounter, an 8 to 10, you've dealt with them or their kind before. The keep of the doors will give you information that is interesting or useful. Say how they owe you or how they feel about you. I'll give you the info first. I may also ask a question, but basically you recognize her. It's Sister Mercy. She is the leader of these mages, in particular of the Saint Sisters. But you know they're not really liked by the other mages in Manila, in Makati particularly. They don't follow any of the rules. They don't write any reports. They don't report to anybody. And what's worse is, you know, that the rest of the mage groups, like they follow this very careful vetting process of who is allowed to join, who is awakened. There are some mages that they just ignore if they feel like they're not suitable to become mages. Like they just live their whole lives having magic and not knowing it. Never approach because they're not deemed worthy. But the sisters are not like that. They'll go to anyone who has even like the smallest shred of magic in them and offer them a way into the world of magic, which no one else likes. People really have a bad time with it. So my question is, so you can see that in the NPC tab, there are 4 sisters. Which one do you know the best?
Ooh, there are some fascinating sisters here. I've seen Sister Sprite in many different Pinterest boards, for sure. probably the youngest, who I'm gonna say Sister Despair. I think how I knew them is, I think before I died, this this girl who was now called Delilah, I think she was at some point like was training up with them, like the like just like kind of like starting out, because like you said, sisters are kind of like, will accept anyone, and they accepted her some time ago, but something about her state now, which is, caught between life and death, kind of like not made her eligible, but like, it's like it's a weird liminal state. Not there's And I think that's when Delilah found like even there is like a limit, but it's not like we won't teach you. It's more like we can't teach you.
Because there are certain rules that just of magic that no longer
Yeah.
apply to you.
Hmm.
I like. Okay, so what would you like to choose? Does she owe you, or do you want to talk about how they feel about you? Or you can talk about the Sisters of Mercy in general. I mean, the Saint Sisters in general. It doesn't have to be just her.
Yeah, I think they feel. I think I'll go for how they feel. I don't know if they owe me anything. um, I I I don't see Delilah as the type where a lot of people owe her stuff. But I was looking at the shade moves, and they're like, wow, they really like they kind of imagine a person smarter than Delilah taking them.
Well, maybe that death is smart.
Actually, no, more competent, I should have said. Yeah, I think in general the Saint sisters kind of like feel pity. Um, it's a kind of like it's a kind of pity that means that they will be helpful to her, but it's still like, you know, if only we had taught her some lessons before she went and pursued this thing, maybe she wouldn't be stuck like this.
Oh, so like
Right.
there's a sense of like, yeah, like they missed out on their responsibility, or they could have taken care of you.
Yeah. So I think like Delilah sees that like Sister Mercy is there, and she kind of immediately puts her hands in her in her coat pockets, just kind of like, it's it's been a while, hasn't it, sister?
And she looks at you and she smiles. I had heard that the division was here, and I admit I had hoped you would be there. And she walks up to you and she gently places a hand on your shoulder. And you notice that, like, unlike a lot of other people who know what you are, she does not flinch. Um, and she says, "Is the division treating you well? I always worry about that."
Oh, I guess the division treats me about as well as anyone who works well for it. I've been doing the worst job, so
Oh, I'm
then
sure
again.
it's not that bad. And she has an overwhelming amount of faith in you in her eyes.
Yeah, I think like we probably just kind of like walking deeper into like the cracked mirror and just kind of like letting like the incense and all that kind of like just cloud her senses a bit. Actually, no, it wouldn't cloud her senses because she can't feel anything. Um, um, so like maybe back then it would have been like, it's a very nice welcoming place here, but now it's just like, mm. But like Delilah's not gonna say that out loud, and I think she says, I wouldn't call it the worst, Sister Mercy. It's just, well, division is, well, it's a row of blunt objects being, thrown at everything that it perceives as a threat. And if it can't throw that blunt object, they'll try to wield it instead.
And she sighs and she says, "But Delilah, you have to remember, you're not just a weapon. You're not just an object."
I think like Delilah, like, I think yeah, she sighs like that. Says, "Well, I try to do that, sister, but it's getting harder. I think things are slipping away. To where, I don't know. I think the longer I do this work for the division, I don't know. Maybe there'll be a point to it someday. Maybe you know, some sort of spark can be found, but I don't know.
And she opens her mouth, and you can tell she wants to say something, but she closes her mouth again. Ooh, I realize our Sasquatch would be so useful in this situation. And but she leads you in deeper, and you can see that everyone here, when they enter, you can see like it's starting to fill in with some people. It's still pretty early, so it's not too many. You realize that when you look at everybody that they're wearing a glamour of some kind, and it's a natural spell that's cast over the place to ensure everyone's identity is secret. There are some people who are brave enough to take off the glamour, and you notice that everybody who is wearing the glamour, their hair is white instead, and they're all sort of like, it's kind of like, you remember when there was that really weird Korean/Japanese Nazi restaurant? Like, this is kind of the same vibe, except it's like a Christian Catholic priest.
Okay.
Like, you know, no Nazis allowed here, but I'm just saying, it's that weird like anime, like, do they understand what the priestly stuff is? Like, so, but everybody's wearing those outfits. You recognize the sisters when you see them. They're all there. What is it about this place? What kind of entertainment do they offer people who come here to the Crack Mirror?
Ooh. Imagining all sorts, but you know, probably nothing as debauched as that red light district. But I think there is something like that. I think it's fairly wholesome is the wrong word, but open, I guess, is what I'm thinking. This is a place to like let go a bit. It's kind of like a maid cafe, I suppose. Daryl, sure. That seems like what the vibe is. It is kind of like here is a place for like you know, it really feels like it's detached from the rest of the world, and like you can really while some hours away here, and you don't know what you did, but it was fun. It was relaxing. It was like kind of like this is what it's like to dip your toe into, I guess, what heaven feels like, I suppose, or at least some idyllic idea of heaven. So you're not really sure what the entertainments are, but it's good.
Absolutely. And you notice that there is one person who is quite bravely not wearing the glamour, and he looks, he has short brown hair, large eyes. You can recognize the type. There's like he's eager to prove himself. You can tell these young mages, they're quite similar in that. And he's sitting quite eagerly. You notice that there's a small crow that's seated on his shoulder, and they're whispering things to each other. And as you come by, they sort of look at you and look at each other and start like laughing behind her. Well, one is behind a hand and the other one's behind a wing. So as you pass by, I think this is going to be a good time to cut to the other two, right? To Panzer and Syne. Do you want to show up here soon, or do you want to have like another scene taking care of something else?
I'm gonna just show up at the cracked mirror. I meant to like a scene on the way if you want.
Yeah, I
Sure.
think I'm totally fine with it being like a thing where it's like you're walking that way and then like I round a corner and I like bump into you, even though you thought you'd like left me like a while ago at the onsen.
Yeah. Oh, Panzer, I'm glad I ran into you. I guess we should get going with this investigation, right?
Indeed, I think that the pleasure tour part of the evening has ended.
Oh, you went on a tour. I thought you, where'd you go?
Oh, I wasn't on a tour. I was apparently one of the attractions.
Somebody following you?
And I just look dead eye. I'm just like, yes, indeed.
Let's, all right, let's go. Wait, I'll walk off.
Oh, wait, hold on. No. As I say this, I'm still wearing the crane kimono. Like, they didn't ask for it back or anything like that. And it just, like, slips off my shoulder, my glassy shoulder. Scandal style.
I
A
blush.
breeze just takes it.
A
Are
breeze
we
lifts
reaching
it
for
off
the
the
light
shoulder.
or?
Is that what seduction looks like nowadays?
For these monsters, maybe.
Oh my god. Am I comforting you?
With your sexiness, maybe.
In Finn's wildest dream, you are. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, you know what? Let's just see where it goes. I think this equates to teasing. I think that this is Panzer teasing you, but not understanding how to tease.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm not sure if this. Am I even using any darkness? This is very like coy in Panzer's own way.
Then we could roll with a 0.
I'm gonna roll with the flat stat. We're gonna see how it goes.
Totally up to fate.
It's a 7. And you know what? I'm gonna burn the bond. Like, and in fact, the way that I do it is actually like the breeze like takes the kimono like half off my shoulder, and I step in like very closely, and I look up at you because I'm assuming you're taller than me, even in my heels, and I just say, yes, and I say, did you enjoy the sights?
uh,
And that bumps it to an 8.
Nice. Oh my gosh, so good.
you step in, the cigarette falls out of my hand. And then, the next time it cuts back to like the upper part of Sin's body is holding a cigarette again, and inexplicably, of course. I'm gonna try this. This is an obvious lie, but this is what Sin goes with. He says, I didn't see anything. I met with Crow again.
And I think that I like look at you for a second, and I go, and I say, is that what that rather hideous creature was called? And I just pull my like robe back up and then turn and walk back up the street towards the cracked mirror. And I'm gonna mark an XP.
Gosh, yeah. I don't know if I should take 3 tokens of darkness or a point of doom.
Yeah, because like, were you holding back a bit? Because like you were saying, you're afraid to get close.
Yeah, Panzer's the most forbidden love. I'm just trying. I think it's got to be Doom because that hits like I can't ever fall in love, and their Panzers, kimonos slipping off shoulders, and
I would also say that this makes me feel unloved or abandoned, so I'm going to take a darkness.
oh man.
Love it. So good. So good.
Doom and darkness. That's funny. Oh wait, maybe I should take a single darkness token for feeling overwhelmed.
Oh yeah,
This cascades so much.
I think that's accurate. Is it just one token? Because that was like that shoulder kimono. I don't know.
Yeah, I think in it's very spicy, but I think in relative to what else has been happening with
Fair.
Syne, I think that's just the cute one. Yeah, and then I'll follow after. Probably keeping a distance at this point.
I like
Not
that
for the
so
sights.
So good, so good. All right, so I think we have just enough time to like just set up the crack mirror, and we'll get into it in the next session. So, as the two of you enter, it's while Delilah went down one way, which is through that narrow staircase, going down to the crack mirror. What the two of you find instead is that as you step into the inn, there is this elevator that is off to the side, like those old types with the wrought iron and the beautiful design. It really doesn't match anything else that's going on in this space, and no one else can see it except the two of you. And it opens up, and you can see that there is what do we call them? Like those assistants who are like inside the elevator to help you. Right, so there's an attendant sitting on that small little chair, and it looks like if a sheriff had fallen out of heaven and landed in the red light district. This is what they look like. So they're plump with rosy cheeks, like a beautiful shining brown hair, and they have this cute little like elevator attendant uniform on, and they have these like fat little wings just like flapping at the back. And then they have this really huge rosary that's just like wrapped around their neck. It's really gaudy, like it's huge and crystallized, and a lot of them look like they're etched into like rosebuds. And you hear a voice saying, "Oh, for the cracked mirror? Yeah, we've been expecting you. Come on." And then I cannot whistle, so they whistle for you to come into the elevator. "Quickly, you two. Yeah, the one with a lot of tension between the two of you. Yeah."
And then so Panzer like completely ignores the jab at like whatever is happening here, and just like very stately walks into the elevator and then stands in the far corner.
Take us down, up, wherever we're going.
Yeah, I'm gonna steal that idea from the chat, and you see them take out a cigar. How do they fill up but it smells like roses, right? When they like expel that smoke. And they look at you, and it's not that far, but there's like this awkward elevator music going on. It seems like this is taking a while. And so are you visiting for long? Division types, eh?
We're just in town for business.
Don't worry about it.
The kind of business in the pants, or just business?
Aren't both equally valid? That is what I have come to ascertain from the existence of this neighborhood.
Ah, that's a good point. Good point. You're a smart kid. I like you, they say. And but Syne, we've heard so much about you. So you and Crow, eh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Really? Oh, everybody's talking about it.
If Panzer had hair on the back of its neck, their neck, it would be standing up right now.
I'm gonna flick some ash. Maybe one of my little demons will like start wrestling with this insufferable cherub.
Yes. Like they respond to your annoyance, and you can hey, you, shut up. And then they like pull up the sheriff and they're like, hey, you. And they're like fighting in the corner. And then the elevator doors open and you enter the crack mirror and you can hear the sheriff in the back. I was just making conversation. Right. As the two of you.
Panzer pushes, like just walks straight out of the elevator and doesn't even look at Syne, but just says, make sure that you're not make sure that you're not enjoying pleasure on the business's dime.
From the one who went to the fancy onsen, right?
Totally hypocritically.
Jeez.
Yes, I acknowledge that, but it is spiteful.
We'll talk when we file reports, Panzer.
They never question my expense reports.
Like, you know, that's probably true too.
But yes, so the two of you enter, the corridor opens up and it's the same as what Delilah saw. You can see the glamours that are on some people. A lot of them are white-haired. You see that everyone is caught up in their own entertainments. But I want to ask, Syne, what worries you about this place when you enter it?
There's no shadows. All those low lit candles are all very strategically placed.
Oh, that's so good. I like that. I like that a lot. And you notice that that the moment that there could be something like a shadow that appears, one of the sisters gets up and lights a new candle to make sure it's not there. And Panzer, what I want to ask you is, what surprises you about this place? What bit of beauty do you find here that you weren't expecting?
So there are, even though it's like in a place that like is kind of in like like a semi-darkness almost, like it's very, you know, kind of like club but like still no shadows and things like that. There are these like really beautiful windows that like don't seem to actually shine out to anything. And the windows are like stunning. They're like if like a Renaissance master painted a stained glass window. And Panzer is not used to not being the most beautiful glass thing in a room.
So good, so good. All right, and as the two of you step forward, you can feel the glamour settling on you. You can wear it if you like. You can throw aside the glamour if you like. Are you going to allow the glamour to stick to you?
No way.
Panzer also just doesn't wear it. Also, Panzer's hair is already white, so they don't need it.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, and so as the two of you step through, the glamour is slipping off and leaving you behind. As you come through, there's this beautiful sound of music. You can't quite place where it's coming from, the smell of incense. You see one of the sisters stand up, approaching you. And so this one, let's see. You see that she's wearing this long, kind of like a leather trench coat situation. There are all these tattoos up and down her arms. Her white hair is long all around her face. And she says with a smile, "Hello, I'm Sister Whisper, and I'm so glad to invite you into the crack mirror." And before she can finish her sentence, there's this like screech on the other side of the crack mirror, and that's when you can see that the wood on the floor starts to splinter up and smoke starts to completely fill the room. And Sister Whisper turns around and starts to protect the two of you, like they're pushing the two of you back and saying, no, this is part of the contract. This is not supposed to happen. And there's just this sound of fire that starts to fill the room. And that's where we're going to end our session tonight. And we'll see what happens next week. All right, so because I'm not going to forget, we're going to do end of session moves. Okay. Not forgetting, not forgetting. So let us, dun, 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 that is in our situational moves. Okay, so we did this at the start of the session, but answer, for every yes you answer, you mark 1 XP. So did you express your monstrous nature? Did you express your humanity? I have so many feelings about all these questions. Did you learn something significant about yourself or your impending doom? And did you learn something significant about a fellow monster? So let's go in character keeper order. Let's start with our summon. So Panzer, do you feel like you said yes to any of these questions?
Oh, yes. So did I express my monstrous nature? I almost went Chernobyl on a brothel, so yeah, I think that definitely happened. Did you express your humanity? Well, I'm pretty sure I got as close to crying as I might ever have gotten. And also, I definitely felt spited by somebody that I have some weird unresolved feelings for. So there was a lot of humanity there. Did I learn something significant about myself or my impending doom? I would also say that because I had that whole memory with my creator, whom I don't remember except for that apparent one flash there, so that was great. Did I learn something significant about a fellow monster? I was very self-involved this week, so I think I did not do that one, so that's 3.
I like it though. Though you were having that conversation with Delilah at the beginning about death and stuff, so there is that. But yeah. Okay. And then next, our pure. So Syne, do you feel like you said yes to to any of these questions?
Yeah, I think I hit all of them. I think we saw very firsthand Syn's monstrous nature. Many humanities were shown from Syn this evening. Absolutely learned something significant about myself, my shadow, past traumas impacting present day. Did we learn something significant about a fellow monster? I think yes, just from those like small insights into Panzer. I didn't realize there was any humanity at all in there. So starting to see some cracks in that glass.
Oh, so true, so true. I like it. Yeah, so go ahead and mark. I'm sure you're going to like get close to another level up after this one, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I should have like 3 left, I think.
Nice, nice. All right. And Delilah, do you feel like you said yes to any of these questions?
Yeah, I think there are a few of them. To express your monstrous nature. Yeah, I've got a lot of use out of my steampunk lighter. Um, um, to express humanity. Yeah, I think we kind of like see the first time that Delilah has straight out said, "My situation sucks. It really sucks." Um, did you learn something significant about yourself or your impending doom? Well, the audience and the players learned a few things about Delilah, but I think she already knew about all that stuff, like her connection to the Saint Sisters and all that. Yeah, I don't know if she learned anything specific about her doom or herself. Um, did you learn something significant about a fellow monster? Yeah, Panzer can't dream and doesn't know everything about themselves.
Yeah, that's true.
I may have accidentally triggered that and nearly blew up and caused another Chernobyl to learn that fact. But still, I learned it, so that's 3 XP.
Nice, nice. Very cool, very cool. Okay, so that was our session of Apocalypse Keys. Oh my gosh, that was like a lot of flirting and intensity and emotions and stuff. I'm very happy about it. So we're going to stop the recording here, but we can do a very quick stars and wishes, or we can save that for offline. We'll see how that goes. All right, but thank you everybody who was watching. I really like how this session went. This playtest is going so well. I'm so shocked. But, all right, so we'll see you all next time. Bye, everybody.